Hi, this is Stuart Bruce from the Government of Bermuda Department of Planning, and today I'm going to give you a short lesson on how to use our new citizen self-service to lodge a objection, a representation, or a counter-objection to the new Draft Bermuda Plan 2018. The first thing that you'll have to do to use the citizen self-service, or CSS, is you'll have to create an account. So if you go to the upper right of your screen, you see where it says Good Morning Guest. Hit that little drop-down arrow and select the option to register. Now, to use the CSS, you must have an email address and you must create an account. So the first step would be to type the email address that you want to use for this account here. And once you type that in, then you'll go ahead and click the Next button. And what will happen is that an email will be sent to the email address that you put in here. You'll have to open up your email and click the Confirm link, and then you can proceed with the registration. Now, take note that sometimes these messages may end up in your spam filter, so if you don't see it at first, check your spam filter. Alright, once I click Confirm on the email, it takes me to this screen here, and I'm going to go ahead and register. Now remember, your email address is your username, the full email address. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Register button. And I have to fill in some information here. So I'm going to type this in. Now, if you're an agent, you should be putting your company here as well, and you can include this information on your phone, fax, email address. Notice that it's already here. You can pick your contact preference. If you prefer to be contacted by email, which is suggested, you would select email here. Then you have to set yourself up a password, and you usually want to use a password with an uppercase and a lowercase, some numbers, and some special symbols. And the better your password is, the stronger indication that you will have here on your password confirm. Your country type should always be international. Now, if you're like many Bermudians and you have a P.O. box, you should enter your P.O. box in the street number field. And then you can just, for the street name, just go ahead and put NA, because you have a P.O. box. You put your city in. And then you want to let us know what this address is for. Is this going to be your main contact billing address? You'll have to fill that out. Once you have all that information filled out, you've got to go ahead and let us know that you're not a robot. And then you can submit. Note that it may take a couple seconds. You see the little blue bar up here. It's uploading your information to our servers, so be patient. And then once your registration is complete, you can go ahead and hit Login. So we go ahead and log in and put your email address in. And your secret password. Remember me, and log in. So you can see up here it recognizes that I'm here. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to apply for the new apply an objection, representation, or a counter objection to the new Draft Bermuda Plan 2018. Alright, once you're logged in, if you come and click the dashboard button, this is where our CSS allows you to track any active applications that you have. Now, this is what we call the soft launch of our new CSS. So the only thing you're able to apply for right now, if you hit the apply button, the only thing you can do is file a draft plan objection to the Draft Bermuda Plan. Later on next year, we'll be opening this up for all other planning functions, but for right now, we just have the one that you can apply for. Now, some useful things to realize about the CSS. One of them is you might want to take a look at your property and check your zoning out. Now, you can go to our map icon here. This will pull up a map of Bermuda. You can type your address in. Let's say that you live at 10 Middle Road. So we type 10 Middle Road here in our search box. And we hit our little magnifying glass. And we can see that we have a number of 10 Middle Roads. One in Smiths, one in Southampton, one in Warwick. We'll pick the one in Smiths here. And we can see that. So if you see over here, there's our dot in Smiths. We can zoom in on this. And we can see that the address here is, of course, 10 Middle Road. This is Windy Nook. We can see what the parcel number is there. I'm going to go ahead and adjust my zoom back up so I can see more clearly. There's our zoom. And we wonder, like, okay, what zoning is that? So if we come over here and hit our arrow here, we can look at the legend, and we can scroll down and see the table of contents for zoning. So we identify the color matches that color. This is residential 2 zoning. So if you wanted to file an objection, let's say, for example, that you want to turn this into industrial, you could do so. Now, one of the useful ways of applying is you have the option to apply directly from the map screen, and I highly recommend that. So let's say we did want to file an objection for this property, as unlikely as that may be. You would come over here, and this button here allows you to draw to apply. So we would select point, and then we would come and click on our parcel, give it a second, and it basically allows us to apply for a plan. Now, a objection is a plan case type, so we would go ahead and slide this over for our parcel and our address, and we would select apply plan. And like I said, the only one you can apply for right now is the draft plan objection. So we would go ahead and hit the apply button. All right, so the first thing we have to do when we apply for a draft plan objection is we have to pick the location. Now in this example, we picked a location from the tool available on the map. But if I remove that and I don't go the map route, first off, if you're applying for an objection or representation to a policy statement, you do not need a location. If you're applying to get a zoning change, you would need a location. So we go ahead and we hit add location, and we can just come in here. The simplest thing to do is search for an address. So I'm going to go ahead and search for 7 Paget Lane, and I hit search. It finds that we have a few 7 Paget Lanes here, potentially combinations. So we're going to go ahead and have to scroll through these to find the right one. It gives you a lot of results just in case you pick something that's close but not correct. And let's see here. 7 Paget Lane, where are we? And there we are right there, 7 Paget Lane. So we go ahead and hit the add button. And notice it automatically determined what the parcel number was, so we're ready to go. So we hit the next step here, and we have to pick the type. In this case, only the Draft Bermuda Plan can be picked. Now in this description field, you want to put a short description. For example, I want to change from R2 to commercial. So a short description of what you want to do, you would put there. And once you've done that, you go to the next screen. So here's where you would add your contacts. Now, since you created and registered on the CSS, you're automatically added as an applicant. However, if you're an agent, you'll have to go ahead and add yourself in as an agent as well, so we know that. You can add as many contacts as you want, but the most you would normally have, you would have maybe an applicant, you would have an agent, and you would have an owner of the land possibly. Then we go to the next screen, and here's where you put in the details of the basically objection or representation that you have. So if you're an agent, you can give us your internal reference number. We will track that. And then you pick which of the types. So objection, representation. So representation is if you want to say something positive about the plan, you're not really objecting, you're just letting us know that you like the fact that we have lots of zoning to preserve environmental land, for example. Counter objection, once the objections start coming in, you will be able to view all objections that are filed. You could come in and basically file a counter objection to someone else's objection. So I'm just going to go ahead and do an objection, and I'm going to basically say that I'm looking for a zoning map change. If I had picked policy request here, then I would have to let us know the policy number or figure number that you are objecting to. So I go ahead and scroll down this screen here. And if it's a vacant lot or something like that, you want to give us some additional details on the property, you could go ahead and put that here. Beneath this, we have the objector submission. So this is really where you put your your entire case for why you're objecting, why you want it changed. You can put as many words in here if you want to, but this is definitely a required field. I'm just going to write in test right now because I'm not really objecting to anything. Now, as part of the legislation involving the release of plans, if you are not the owner of the land, there is a requirement that if you're objecting to the zoning on someone else's land, you're required to actually notify them of the objection. And this screen here, dialog, allows you to put that information in and serves as the certificate of objector indicating that you have notified the landowner of your objection to zoning on their land. So make sure you fill that out if you're doing that. And now we're almost done. We go to the next screen. This allows us to attach any attachments that we might want to add. Now, if you're making an objection to a policy, it's possible that you may not have any other objections. However, if you're an agent and you are objecting to something on behalf of a property owner, you must attach an authorization letter indicating that you have the owner's permission to act as their agent. If you're filing for a zoning map change, then you're going to have to include a location plan and a site plan survey showing us exactly what you want it to be changed to. You have the option of any other supporting documents, and if you're just not sure what category, you can add attachments under the other category. So once all your attachments are there, if necessary, you click Next. And the next screen basically allows you to review everything that you've submitted. So you can look over what you're doing. You can see what attachments might have been submitted. And if everything looks okay, you go ahead and click Submit. And you'll get to this screen here saying that your application was successfully created. Of course, there's no fees involved to apply for an objection to the Draft Bermuda Plan 2018. Go ahead and click this button here saying Continue to Plan. Okay, so you get to this screen here, basically is the summary, and a couple things here. E-Reviews portal doesn't really matter for this particular case, and you really haven't approved anything, so there's nothing that you can print. But what this does show you, and this is the screen if you want to check on the status of your plan objection down the road, you come back to this screen and you can see that we have all kinds of information you can click on to see when meetings might be held. You can see the workflow, and we actually track the progress of your objection through the workflow. So this is the entire workflow here, ending up with the final sort of decision of the minister on the objection, and a little bit of progress bar here and things like that. Now, if we go back to the dashboard, which I will do in a moment, so we can come back here, go back to the dashboard. And what you will see, if all is working well, you can see that you have one draft plan objection pending. And you'll be able to come back, and let's say that you file 2 or 3 of these, you'll come back to the dashboard of the CSS and you'll be able to click on these, and you'll be able to track any objections that you might have filed. Notice also that we have an assigned case number, in this case FWD 0001-18. So I've actually filed the first objection to the Draft Bermuda Plan as a test, and I'll be deleting that later. You also have the ability to search, so you can click search here, and I could come in the search screen and I could select search plans and hit my search button, and you will see that I found the one objection to the Draft Bermuda Plan, and I could look at that. I could also click this icon here and I can see it in a map. So I hope that you enjoy using our CSS, and if you have any questions, obviously at the bottom of our CSS there is an email. You can email for help, and I will assist you any way I can. You're also welcome to come into the Department of Planning, and our front desk staff will also assist you with filing an electronic application. Thank you very much for your time today.